this morning, the state of Arizona executed its second death row inmate by lethal injection. Richard Djerf died this morning. He was pronounced dead at 10:40 a.m. This is for the crime of brutally murdering four people, an entire family, as an act of revenge. A crime, by the way, that he admitted to. This wasn't it wasn't me, or you got the wrong guy.
Yeah, 1993, no. I believe.
Yeah, going back to 1993. So, not only was he executed today, but he had been conversing with our next guest. Joining us from 3TV, she's a reporter and host of the True Crime Arizona series. I love that. It's Briana Whitney. Briana, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Outstanding.
So you witnessed the execution. How many executions have you witnessed?
Oh.
This was the first I've actually witnessed. I've covered the executions before in Florence, but this is the first one I've actually watched. So I didn't quite know what to expect,
right,
and went in with a little bit of nerves, but felt like I was kind of prepared for it to go fairly clinically, and that is how I felt it went.
Yeah, I mean, it's not every day you go into a room and you're going to witness someone being put to death.
Die.
Okay, so did you had the nerves for a couple days? You go in there, and because I always feel like asking people who witness this the human side of it.
Okay,
you're there as a reporter. Sure. I get it, but you're also a human being. So when you saw him put to death, what's going through your mind? Are you queasy? Are you watching this as a news reporter? Or are you like, oh my goodness, I can't believe what I'm watching?
Well, and can I add, you had communicated with him.
Yeah, let's
right?
get to that in a sec, because I want to hear about that. But what did you think about when he was first put to death and while that was happening?
So I honestly think the most anxiety-provoking part of this whole process was right when we got in there and he came into the room. The way it works is we're sitting on what I would consider or kind of call baseball stand type deal, but in a small room, and there's a window, and there are a couple monitors that show what's going on behind the scenes because there's a curtain. And when he comes into the room and is put on the gurney, the curtain opens up like you're watching a show. It's very bizarre.
Wow.
And that part, I think, was the worst of the entire thing, just because the anxiety of what's going to happen, and this is such an oddly archaic feeling thing. Like there's this crowd watching this guy die. That, as the human aspect, is still really strange. But I think I tried to lean more into the fact that this is my job. I'm here to report what goes on. And if there wasn't media witnesses, if things do go awry or something does happen, you need to be able to report that back for the entire legal process and the rest of the media. So I felt like it was almost a duty in a sense, and that kind of helped ground me. I also kept the victim's family kind of top of mind, remind yourself why we're here. And the prosecutor at the time had said this was the worst crime scene he's ever seen, still to this day, 30 years later.
Oh.
And so when you think about that part felt a lot more inhumane than what I witnessed today, which in all senses of really what happened, we basically watched him go to sleep. And that was the dramatics of it, just from what we actually witnessed.
Again, we're talking to Briana Whitney, 3TV reporter and host of True Crime Arizona series, who witnessed the execution this morning, actually, of Richard Djerf. How long did it take? Can you give me a sense of time?
Yeah, so he walked into the room at about 10:02. And what really took the longest time today was them trying to find the vein on each arm for the IVs. That definitely didn't go perfectly. They struggled. They put it in, took it out multiple times, not getting the right vein for the concoction to go in. And I think he's a bigger guy, and so that wasn't necessarily unexpected, but that wasn't perfect. Oddly enough, though, when that was happening, I mean, that probably was the most painful part for him, and he didn't flinch. He didn't move. I mean, his eyes were shut the whole time. He didn't look out at the crowd at all. He didn't look out anywhere, or really even look at the doctors with the people administering this. He just looked very calm, did not fight back. And so by the time that they actually got the IVs in, which took a good, 5, 6, 7 minutes to get those working, the actual process itself was pretty short. They read the death warrant. They started the first syringe. There were 4 syringes that they used. And really the entire death process was about 7 minutes or so, at least from when they first put in the first syringe to when it appeared that he was lifeless. He appeared dead about 10 minutes before they actually made the official declaration of death, but it was very quick.
Yeah, I'm sure it was a bit uncomfortable to get a couple needles stuck in you. Not nearly as uncomfortable as, well, he sexually assaulted someone, slashed her throat, used an aluminum baseball bat, stabbed someone, shot someone, tied people to kitchen chairs before fatally shooting them. He's a load of trash. But again, we're not for torture. We don't do torture in this country. Let's stick the needle in and get him going. I'd actually like to go back to, Bruce, what you said just a few minutes ago. Like, you actually had communication with this guy days before he was going to be, like, put down. Like,
how were you communicating with him?
So in this, I mean, I cover true crime only, and so I communicate through the prison messaging system with quite a few inmates, both in jail and in prison. It's definitely a weird part of my life. And I would say I try to reach out to people when there is a big case going on or, a big story, something we're working on, to get their perspective. I always say, 2 sides to every story, and people honestly want to know what these guys have to say before something like this. So I figured I'd reach out, and he had prepared this large statement that he sent to a few different people about the immense remorse that he had for the crimes that he committed. And I didn't know if he was going to say anything else, so I started to kind of ask him some other questions just to see. And he did answer. Like, I asked him, are you scared to die? Do you believe that this is a justified sentence for you? What's been happening these last few weeks, X, Y, and Z? And he was pretty vulnerable and open with me. I mean, he basically said, I'm not afraid to die, but I do have anxiety that people are going to watch me die. And he knew that I was going to be witnessing it.
Oh.
Yeah, and so that was something we talked a little bit about. He basically talked about that he felt he had made peace with this, that he also believed he deserved this fate, and that he really was focusing on the victims themselves. I mean, his last message to me yesterday said, I've said everything I need to say, and here are the names of the victims, wrote them all out, their first, middle, last names, and then said, I hope those are the names you remember, not mine. Those were his final words to me.
Yeah, the Luna family is the one that he destroyed.
Yeah. Right.
Albert Sr., Patricia, Damien, Rochelle, and in reading about this, is it the son Albert who later came home and found his entire family dead? And if that was was Albert there today?
He was not.
Okay.
None of the victims' family was there. I did reach out to Albert ahead of time, hoping to either talk to him and ask him if he was going to attend. And I did not hear back. Yeah. So I think they wanted the privacy. And I mean, understandable.
Of course.
Sometimes you do have the victim's family that is there for this. Yeah. It's been 32 years since this crime. So, we weren't sure either way. But no, he did not say anything at all and did not issue any sort of statement or show up to this. There really was, I mean, interestingly enough, there really was nobody there that we could tell for either side in terms of Djerf family friends or the Lunas. I believe the prosecutor who prosecuted this at the time was there, along with, Maricopa County Attorney Rachel Mitchell and Attorney General Chris Mays, and then some other attorneys and prison staff. But it didn't seem that there were any true loved ones of either side there today.
Okay.
Briana, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for sharing your experience, and we sincerely appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
That's Briana Whitney, 3TV reporter and host of True Crime Arizona. And she'd been following this story all the way through to its conclusion this morning around 10:30 a.m. when Mr. Djerf was finally put to death.
Yeah, piece of garbage. 1993, tortured, murdered nearly an entire family. Just an evil, evil, evil man.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching Outspoken with Bruce and Gaydos. Tap to watch more from KTAR News and click the button in the middle to subscribe.